So it's true, epoxy resin is heavier than wood and it doesn't float. And the other day I was at dinner and I was thinking, I have a couple bottles of that at home. Why not make a lure out of it? Or at least half of a lure? Even better, let's make it the bottom half of the lure. That way it floats upright. So I'm going to come up with a design and figure out where I'm going to put the resin. And then I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to glue it to a piece of poplar wood. And who knows, let's wing it. Let's improvise. I have no idea what I'm doing. Do you? Anyways, welcome back to this episode of... So after I cut out the general shape of the lure, I'm going to go ahead and sand it to further refine it, and then I'm going to drill some pilot holes in so that the eyes will be uniformly in the right spot on both sides. We're not quite done yet getting the shape of what I want, so I'm going to draw some lines to help guide me along for the carving process. And like all of our Build-A-Bait videos, I will show you at the end of this how it performs above and below water. So we know, hey, this thing can work, or hey, this thing won't work at all. Anyways, back to more sanding, because most of lure making is sanding. So much sanding. Now I'm drawing my chamfer lines. These will guide me along as I begin my carve, the fun part. Probably my favorite part is the carving. I don't know, there's something cathartic about it, just whittling away. Hey, check us out on Facebook, Fishbrain, Instagram, and TikTok for daily and weekly updates on what's coming out with our videos, some of the trips and adventures we've been on and what we're going on. We upload reels, all kinds of fun stuff. You'll love it if you already don't. So we're in March now and the fish are starting to bite just a little bit more. We're getting a little bit more warmer days. So this 2 weeks between video thing might be coming to a halt. We might be jumping right in to our weekly videos that we're going to do all the way till the new year like we did previous years. Most of the winter we do these Build-A-Bait videos because, where we are in the Midwest, in Cincinnati, Ohio, not a lot of fish are biting in, February, January. Hey, we got shakers now. I've ordered those in the mail. I'm just going to go ahead and route out a little cavity. A year ago, my very first lure I ever made, I actually made my own shaker for that little crankbait, and I haven't made one since. So let's do it on this one. Let's make this a little bit more advanced than our previous lures. We got a shaker. Now I'm going to take some Legos and build a little mold holder and put some modeling clay in there, smooth it out, remove some modeling clay, and just make a little spot to pop in that half of the lure that we're going to make resin. That's the bottom half of the lure. I put that little screw in there so I can pull that out. Now we're going to do 1:1 ratio, equal parts epoxy resin, and maybe put a little coloring in there. I don't want it to be crystal clear because it might have lead and hooks and all that. I really wasn't wanting to show all that, but let's put a little gold in. Okay, that's a little bit too much gold. Okay, we're too far deep into this now. Let's just keep going. As long as light will just barely pierce through the belly like that, semi-transparent is what I'm going for. That heat, that's getting rid of the bubbles. All right, moving on. I'm gonna let this cure overnight, and the next day, so I know I'm able to touch it, I'm gonna make a Lego. So when I know that's done, that I can go ahead and remove my lure. So we're all set the next day. Let's do this. All right, let's do a little wet sanding. That's good for shining up and glossing up your resin. Look at that, nice little fit. I'm gonna have to sand a little bit, do some shaping, but I think this is gonna work. All right, let's just do a lazy little water test here and make sure, it's gonna work. So I'm gonna put the hooks on there and look, it's a topwater lure right now. So I'm gonna add some weight to the resin half. We're gonna use a Forstner bit, remove a little section. So the wood is weighing at 2.83 grams, so the resin weighs 4.37 grams heavier than the wood. So that's working out for us. Let's put a little bit of lead in there. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right, so the lead that we added was 4.56 grams, so we definitely have a heavier bottom half that won't float on top of the water anymore. All right, now I'm going to put a little section here so I know when I drill that hook holder in the bottom that I'm not going to go right through my shaker or my lead. Next, a little super glue to our resin half, and we're going to go ahead and pop her on there and let that dry. You know what I'm going to do? More sanding, so much sanding, all kinds of sanding. Sanding and wet sanding, you name it, we got it here on Cincy Fish Dudes. All right, this is looking good. So let's do a Lexi polycarbonate lip. Let's skip that whole process and let's go ahead and make a little slot there to put the lip or the bill. And all right, that's a nice little fit. And we're gonna use some super glue, pop it in there, and then spray it there and harden it quickly. Use that Forstner bit again to make our eye holes, and we always make our own tie-on eyes and hook holder parts here on this channel. So we're gonna go ahead and make the holes for that. And you know, I actually made the holes a little bit bigger than my tie-on eyes, but that's okay because I'm gonna put super glue, 5-minute epoxy, plus the multiple layers of clear coat that's gonna be on here. Should be enough for 100 to 200 pounds of pressure on each of those hook holders and tie-on eyes. I'm not going to be catching a 100-pound fish anytime soon, at least not with this lure. I can hope. So let's tape off that resin part because I don't want to put any paint on it right just yet. I'm going to go ahead and put on a white opaque for our base coat, and then what I'd like to do is take this gold, this shiny gold spray paint, put it in our airbrush, and go ahead and put that layer on because I think that will really complement the color of our resin. Looking good, looking good. Let's take this tape off. Wow. All right, let's do some pearlized like chartreuse and just, you know, throw some patterns on here. I don't know. Do you know? Okay, let's do some darker patterns. Let's add my favorite little pearlized purple color there. Boom. Just getting it done. Check it out. All right, let's see what it looks like. It looks good. Let's do some accents on the bottom. Yeah, a little bit on the top there. Let's put some black opaque on the face, around the eyes. Well, this is coming together, guys. This is coming together. All right, ooh, stripes. Let's give it some like perchy stripes. Yeah. Okay, so let's make our gill pattern. I'm just gonna airbrush stencil and then cut it out here. And then we'll use that black opaque to do the first part of our gills, and then we'll just offset it a little bit and use white. And okay, all right, we got something going here. And it's time for hand painting. Ooh, fine art right here on Cincy Fish Dudes. Let's put a little of this black light neon because if the fish are parting down in the water with a black light, they're gonna love this lure. And we'll show you what it looks like with a black light a little bit later. Let's add some more of that purple dots. Heck, I got yellow. Let's use yellow. I like it. I like it. This is cool detail work right now, I think. Do you think? So this lure is going to have 2 coats of clear coat. The first one is going to have gold dye and flake in it, and the second one is just going to be a plain crystal clear top coat. And I'll show you why in just a second, because we want to add some dimension. Speaking of dimension, when I held this lure up to the light, the resin part of the belly is semi-transparent, so light was shining through the belly, which is kind of cool. And the lead inside the resin kind of looked like guts. I don't know, I thought it was cool. It was kind of hard to show that on film how that worked, but you'll just have to take my word for it. All right, let's put on some eyes. I haven't used these green eyes yet, and I feel like they would really complement this lure. So let's put some super glue on there, add some eyes. Ooh, that's nice. And it's time for our stencils. I printed out a bunch of these stencils I made in Photoshop a while back, and I use them on all my lures. When you add them onto a layer of top coat and then add another layer of top coat, it adds that 3-dimension kind of thing. It's like almost the fins aren't painted on, that they're actually a part of the fish. If I'm explaining that right, I don't know. Okay, the final decal is my signature and the date 2023, and we are in the first week of March, and now that the stencils are on, it's time for our last coat of clear coat. And I use True Coat. Links in the description to most of this stuff I'll provide.
I'm going to use a hairdryer to bring some of the bubbles to the surface of the clear coat, and then we'll heat up the lure because that also helps the clear coat, the True Coat, stick a little bit better to the lure.
So we're going to finish up the clear coat process. We're going to let it rotate overnight so that all that clear coat doesn't drip to one section of the lure. It gets real funky when you do that. So this is the best process in my opinion. And ooh, do you remember that black light, that neon light dots we added? Check it out under a black light. Fish are going to love that, I think. The ones that like to party will. So 23 grams, 0.83 ounces is the final weight of this lure. My most advanced lure to this date. Part resin, part poplar, square bill with a shaker. That's my first lure I made right there. That little crankbait, that was a year ago.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Nice and noisy. We're just gonna take it out. We got a beautiful day again, but super cold water, so I'm not really expecting much from this. I'm a little larger than I'd be throwing right now, but I'm definitely gonna catch something with this come spring.
We are in early March. The waters are a little warmer. The bite is just a little better, and I am done waiting every 2 weeks to post a video. We will still do some Build-A-Bait videos throughout the year, but it's time to fish, baby. And once I start fishing, I go to New Year every week. And I guarantee you next week we'll be back and I will catch some fish. So we hope you're there with us all season long. Did I tell you we got a boat?